whenever a person like me who wants to transition into new role, they
Yeah.
try to find a path where it is very much easy to enter into the IT space. Since I had a background knowledge of the business analyst little bit, it was very easy for me to put all these pieces in such a way that it took me a complete picture. Now you ask me any question in any corner, I guess probably I can answer it. But in the process of doing that, I there are multiple tools which I found for the business analyst. So this kind of course helps. This kind of understanding helps you to explore more rather than just sticking to the four tools that was taught in the course. Uh, Interview is such a hard barrier that one need to crack because you have to put everything that you've got, and once
Right.
you're through that wall, I guess probably on the other side, everything is goody goody there. Like everything is easy.
Hello everyone, I'm Shweta and I'm welcome you back to another inspiring episode of Alumini Chronicles from PIBA. Today's episode is going to be a fascinating one as we uncover yet another remarkable career journey. I am thrilled to have Lohit with us, who has transitioned seamlessly into the role of a business analyst at Rockwell Automation. So Lohit, welcome to PIBA Chronicles and thank you so much for taking time out to join us today.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for the wonderful introduction.
Happy to have you. So let's
Same here.
start. Firstly, how are you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing good. Cannot complain.
Okay, good, good. So let's start with your introduction. So if you can just briefly introduce about your career journey up till now.
Okay, so to give you a quick background of how I've completed my degree and how I transitioned till here.
Uh-huh.
So from a bachelor's point of view, I hold a civil engineering degree, and later on I completed my MBA in project management from MIT Noida, and then I landed up a placement job in the campus itself, uh, in a company called CBRE as a project coordinator.
Okay.
So, as I started working in the project coordinator role, I was lean more towards the management as well as I did more certain portion of my amount into the data analytics part as well, and that's how I try to gain a little bit interest into the data analytics and management both, which combines these both kind of a job, and that's how I discovered the IT space, and that's how I discovered the business analyst role in the IT space. So, and it was very interesting to understand that this particular role only focus on these two segments which I was good at, and some of it, a few of the struggles and few of the contacts, I landed up a job in a startup firm, and I was working there as a business analyst.
Okay.
However, since it was a startup firm, it only focused on the data analyst part, right? Where it was only about understanding the data and trying to present good dashboards and everything. But that job became very monotonous very soon, right? And so after that, with certain courses, with PIB and everything, which came into picture in my later of my life, that's how I transitioned into the actual business analyst or what we call. And right now I'm here in the Rockwell Automation, where I want to be.
Okay, awesome. So you have explained like your career journey in very detailed way. So basically, you said that after management, you started working as a project coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you also tell us more about what were the roles and responsibilities of being a project coordinator, and was it anywhere aligned to the current role or the business analytics role that you later came across?
Yeah. So I guess for the folks who will be watching this video, uh, uh, I have a civil engineering background, right? And I landed up a job in a project coordinator, and it was the projects were more of an on-site projects, which was mostly related to construction in the interior.
Okay.
However, I was in such a role where I had to manage the entire site, but
Mhm.
this was such a complex project. It was a very specific role which had to do with the financial data because the financial flow of the project was so huge. The
Okay.
project was itself was 100 crores, and we wanted an employee who can understand the finances right from the start to end, right?
Mhm.
How the finances were spending, and ultimately the management of the other stakeholders, right, from internal and external stakeholders, right. This was taught in the basic project management course as well, right. So this stakeholder management and understanding the data and everything, this was my day-to-day role, and mostly finances data was something that is very crucial for me because uh, the internal external stakeholders who were the clients, uh, they were US based, and they were very specific about their finances, because we since the spending was in INR and we have to convert into US dollars, forex conversion and all those things, and we have to show the entire flow of the finances right from the start to end, understanding where is the spending and the forecast as well, right? So they were well prepared for the next 6 months, right?
Mhm.
So considering this kind of preparation, doing the dashboard, data analytics, and trying to present them what they required, and apart
Mhm.
from that, management of the internal stakeholders as the external could be as vendor as well, who is trying to vendor as in the laborers who is at site. I did not enter into that space into much, but I was at the surface part, right?
Yeah,
So being a civil engineer, I was not entirely at the site and looking at the construction part of it. I was mainly at the back and understanding the data part of it, right?
correct.
So that's how my day-to-day role was looking at when I was transition from the management to the project coordinator, and that was major portion of my role.
Okay. So
Yeah,
as you were explaining, so there were few things like stakeholder engagement, stakeholder management, which is again aligned to the business analysis role.
yeah.
Yeah, there are few similarities we can see. So going ahead, I also want to understand that you mentioned that the business analytics role was monotonous for you. I want to understand what were the limitation in that role and how did you develop interest for business analysis then?
Truly. So again, for the folks who will be watching this, analytics role was monotonous for me because it was my perspective that I developed for the analytics role, okay, right? Because I was associated with the company for 2 years. Like once I transitioned from the project coordinator to the business analyst role, where it focused more on the analytics part. Now, there my day-to-day role was, so generally what happens is whenever a person like me who wants to transition into new role, they
Mhm.
try to find a path where it is very much easy to enter into the IT space. What
Correct.
is that? The first I could see easily is business analytics, then there is testing, then there's few of the coding jobs, which is very easy and which is on the surface part, but people do not know that there's much more into it. Like once you start into deeper, there are multiple domains that you can work on. You can be domain expertise, you can be functional consultant, and what all not, right? So as a trying to follow the herd, what I did was I did follow the herd and tried to do a few courses before I transitioned into role, which was Power BI, Tableau, and SQL. These were the
Mhm.
three tools which I immediately learned, and this is
Yeah.
how I landed up a job, right? Because although I had a background of a civil engineer, right, but it did not matter much because the way I presented them, they liked it. However, once I transitioned into the role, my day-to-day job was, I used to get the tenants data. So this was, analyzing the retail of the US market, how their trends, their customers, their customers' behavior and everything. Like what all those metrics that were, key important decisions that they need to make, so in order to run the retail business like efficiently, and they
Correct.
have to grow in the next 6 months, that kind of a data we needed to provide. So in that case, what we had to do is like I used to get a tenant's data, understand their data, clean up,
Mhm.
clean it up, right? And if I wanted some extra data, I need to pull it from the SQL database. And then once I got the data, then feed it into the Tableau or Power BI, wherever felt right. Then
Yeah.
provide good dashboards, give them insights. Like what did I find? Is there any something that key outliers in that we need to highlight to them? So such kind of dashboards or presentation I need to make to them. Like this sounded extremely exciting at the very start, but
Uh-huh.
as I spent more and more time on this, it got so monotonous, like it was the same thing again and again. And later on, I guess I was put into such a state that did not have the ability to see myself, growing into this role much longer, because
Okay.
it is more of a desk kind of a job and doing more with the sheets and the data, right? My role did not involve speaking to the customers. My role did not involve, speaking a lot to the internal team. It was just you getting a task, fulfilling it, trying to put your creative mind into it, making good dashboards, and just sending it across to the senior people, right? That's it. So it was trying to put me in a cocoon, right? To work in a cocoon within the cocoon. I do not want to do that. So I guess this kind of since they positioned me in such a way, I guess probably I could not think much of analytics outside this company, right? So that's
Right.
how I later on changed from business analytics to business analyst.
Okay. So while you were sharing details, you also highlighted two things that you gained few of the skills which were Power BI, Tableau, and then you transitioned into IT space. You did mention that they liked you, but along with that, I also want to highlight this to our viewers. You had already gained these skills, which is why they liked you and you were able to crack the interview.
Yeah, yeah,
This is very important to understand to have the skill set.
yep,
Uh, it's not that easy and it's not that difficult as well. This
yeah,
is something. And again, the second thing that you highlighted, that IT space is not limited. There are vast variety of roles in there,
absolutely.
but we are only aware of few of the roles that are on the surface level, as you highlighted. Okay, so let's move ahead. As you were mentioning the limitations of the business analytics, I also want you to tell us the difference between the analytics and analysis part for our viewers.
Okay, so from my experience, analytics was more into running into the data, right?
Mhm.
Putting your head into the data daily, understanding the raw data, what is it, how does it, what does it look like, what is it trying to tell us, and
Right,
then trying to use the data for your providing the best possible way to read that data in a very simple manner, putting into dashboards, right, using Power BI or Tableau, right? So this is how analytics in a simple term is there. And analyst for me is like something like vast variety. When I see it, like it's for Narnia for me, right? I can go on and on for the analyst part. So it analyzes more of very crucial job where it's focuses more on the management part,
correct.
right from understanding the handling the customers first, right, first off, which is very crucial, and
Correct.
secondly the internal stakeholders. So in a nutshell, it's handling the internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. And since I'm in the product company, I need to ensure that my product is up to date, up to scale, and it has best features, and ensure that I understand the pain points of the customers and try to build that thing. So doing this transition, I get a lot of additional skills, which is good for my personality and for my day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I understand.
Yeah, so and that was a great understanding, I believe, because once you get some sort of experience, then only you are able to figure out what exactly similarities are between both the roles, because
Sure.
there's a lot of confusion out there related to business analytics and business analyst role. And
Yeah,
maybe the business analytics part is a bit limited, but the analyst is a vast role. There are different sectors to it, domains to it, and it can we can I would like to say that we can maybe convert it the way we want it according to the project or
yeah,
how the
sure.
company is running. Yeah, so now that you are fully into a business analyst role at Rockwell Automation, I would
Mhm.
like to understand how your roles and responsibilities are at Rockwell and what part you enjoy the most.
So that's an interesting subject and may take long, but I'll try to put it in a very short, concise way. So my day-to-day role is, since Rockwell Automation is a product company, and it focuses more on the MES product, right?
Mm.
So Rockwell generally focus on the manufacturing segment of the industry. And what manufacturing segment? There are automotive, food and beverages, and there are many stamping products and all those things. So it widely focus on the manufacturing market. And to cater to those manufacturing market, we provide a MES product, and there are multiple products as well, right? So the company I work in is called Plex, and it was recently acquired by the Rockwell Automation firm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So the product called Plex is a MES product, right? It focuses from the it's a ERP for the this thing. Yeah. So to put it in a nutshell, there are many ways to it. So that will take a long for me to explain. So it's a product company.
okay,
So our role is to ensure that this product, what the Plex have built or the Rockwell have built, we ensure that this product is having great features and has up to date what do you say requirements that the customers put in. So we understand the customer pain point, and we
correct.
try to polish the product more and more. So for to give you an example, again in a nutshell, like WhatsApp. When WhatsApp came into picture, I guess it was just a chatting this thing. Now it has more to it. You got video calling, then audio calling, then you can send images and all this not. So it kept on upgrading. So in a
Correct.
similar fashion, we do it for this product as well. So there are two ways that we do. The first is understand the customer's issue according to the current market scenario, because the industry keeps on changing and the regulations because of the safety standards and whatnot. And secondly, the Plex vision, right? What vision we want to, what's our vision that we where we need to take this product into the next 10 years, right? We want this and that and all those things. So as a business analyst, our role is to understand from these two segments. The first is the customer's pain point, and the other is the vision. So
Okay.
we try to do a roadmap project, right? So the roadmap project ensures that we give the best features to the product, and try to bring out the best shape of the product. And we, in the process of doing this, we generally have the opportunity to speak with the customers. Then, uh, have a good discussion with the internal team. Then internal team could be your senior product manager, and then later on your development team and QA team, right? So once we get a task, so to give you a very easy flow, once we
Yeah.
get a task for the roadmap project, we understand the requirement.
Hmm.
We ensure that we analyze the requirement, whether the requirements are in the right manner or not. If we feel so there's some gap, we probably try to reach out to the appropriate sources, which could be customers, product managers, or any other senior personnel. Once we get the requirement done, we ensure that that is broken into epic and user stories, and then we reach out to the development team, make them understand that this kind of project is coming, give them a background. And once they are, good handshaking process is done, then we start from right from pre-grooming, then delivering the product, testing, and then deployment. So there's what my day-to-day life looks at. And now I guess since I'm getting a good opportunity to speak with the customers more, because once I have put my head into it in such a way that I've started enjoying it, and the company and the employees itself, my seniors itself, have recognized that I'm enjoying the role more, and they're giving me good opportunities here as well. So that's how I'm more customer facing now.
Oh, that's awesome, and congratulations on that part that your
Thank you.
efforts and are getting recognized also. And as you mentioned, now your scope has become really vast, and it is more of customer facing to understand the customer needs and pain points. So that is more what business analysis is.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. It was really helpful. Now let's move ahead. And now I want to understand what made you decide to join PIBA and how did the program align with your career path?
Oh, all right. Now that's an interesting transition, which was very important for me. I guess PIBA I discovered from LinkedIn portal.
Okay.
There was this time when I was, working as a business analytics in the previous firm before Rockwell. Uh, I was, I was struggling. I had, did multiple courses from Udemy and
Okay.
Coursera and whatnot, right? So since it was an online course, I understand the importance of it, but since it was self-paced, right? I guess that's where I was in a back foot, because the thing which I did not understand first is the competitors, right? I did my courses well. I did understand I did study. I did understand what business analyst is and everything, right? But and on the basis of that, I did courses. If you see my resume, you have, all these gloomy certificates over there. But trust me, it doesn't fit well, because no one would look at it. Like only the first 50% of the resume will someone see it, and if they feel like something interesting, then they'll probably go and explore some more, right? But what I did was, I did multiple courses and tried to apply for multiple jobs in the LinkedIn portal and Naukri. But somehow I did not get any jobs there, because first, the most important thing which I forgot was to understand my competition, right? Because let's say if I'm applying for a company, if there are 10 more applicants for the same role,
Right.
like they are surpassing me very well, although they have the same knowledge, they have the same theoretical knowledge, and may have same experience also, right? But the key difference was the competition where they were ahead of me, right? So that I did not understand, right? So it was just not like, putting out resume here's my resume, please have you do have a job for me. Rather than doing that, I guess first understand the market, study the market, and then then go and like be ahead of the competition, right?
Correct.
Now this kind of insights, this kind of understanding, that's how I got that's how PIBA or Dibhanshu helped me to understand this, right? So since I started struggling for almost 4 to 5 months, transitioning from the business analytics to business analyst, uh, I did not landed any single job, right? I was literally struggling. Then later on, I guess I some since business analyst was more into my feed.
Yeah.
That's how PIBA got into my feed, and that came into my feed, and it was really interesting, right? Since I did already a lot of courses, I thought that it was not necessarily required for me to get more into the theoretical knowledge, but the PIBA was specifically focusing on the practical insights. That what caught my
Correct.
attention, right? Because if it was just another theoretical course, I guess I probably have just skipped my the attention. But since it focused more on the practical insights, that's how I felt that it could be a key thing for me. And trust me, that decision when I spoke with Divanshu, that turned my life. Now, so I guess I had opportunity to speak with Dibanshu like for half an hour, and he said that I guess in the initial time, I guess uh, we were the early students for the PIBA, and since he that time he had offered us to have a one-on-one discussion for half an hour on telephonic call, right? And I had a number of questions to ask, right? But what I did was I just chose the five important things I wanted to ask, and he took me in those half an hour, like he took me in such a confidence that don't worry, we'll do this and we'll do that. And it was not on the basis of trust, it was basis on of real inputs that is required for you to transition, and that what brought confidence in me as well. He told me this is possible, this is possible, and this is possible. How he also told me that he showed me a path, like if you do this, there are certain number of these things. And if you do this, and you can land up here, right? So even I spoke about my vision, because my vision, if you ask me like, Lord, where do you want to see yourself as 5 years, I literally asked him to him this, like, if I get into a business analyst role, what I could do for the next 5 years, like where I can see myself in the next 5 years. That's how I turned this question to him. He said that it is possible for you to land up anywhere, right from being the vertical head, and then gaining the right skills, and you may end up in the top management very soon. It entirely depends on your skill, right? Because we are in business analyst is such a role that once you upskill so early, and if you are ahead of the game, I guess you can climb up the ladder very soon, right?
Correct.
This is what I understand. And once I got to know about that, we had one-on-one discussion. I guess probably we had one free session initially, where he said that you come to the session first. Let us understand that whether you buy the session or not, because the idea of the PIBA, and if that's okay with you, then probably we can start continuing the rest of the courses. And only the first session, which was around, I guess, 2 hours, it was you know it was very good. Like, it was crafted in such a way, like it was very clear to me. Like, I guess before that I had an understanding of very bits and pieces of business analyst, but once I understand the practical insights, since I had a background knowledge of the business analyst little bit, it was very easy for me to put all these pieces in such a way that it took me a complete picture. Now you ask me any question in any corner, I guess probably I can answer it, because it made me that simple, right? It was just since you have this scrambled puzzle, let me put the pieces in the right place so you can see the entire puzzle in a nice way, right? That's why PIBA enabled me to do that. So I guess also one thing, I was very skeptical to take this course, because it was in the month of September and my birthday was around the corner. And
Uh-huh.
it was like, since it was a for 4 weeks course, I guess I'll probably take it later and this thing. But I somehow took a leap. ठीक है, बर्थडे आता रहेगा, सब कुछ है वगैरह. But then somehow I took a leap, and I was really happy that that particular leap helped me transition in the where I am right now, because his guidance was amazing, right? So his course is designed in such a way to understand the practical insights, what's happening and what you need to understand, rather than just a theoretical knowledge that's been out there.
So yes, that was interesting to know your PIBA journey. The initial interaction that you had with Divanshu was also very interesting, and definitely it helped you to go ahead with this course. And as you were stressing more on the practical part, right? So
Mm,
yes, this course is structured in a way that is more, it gives you more on the practical insight than on the theoretical part, which will make you ready for your interviews as well as the role, because
Yeah.
cracking interview is not the only thing. After that, you also have to be a good fit for that role, right? So yeah, I would say everything you have explained us in a very detailed way about your PIBA journey and how it is based on the practicality of business analysis. So, taking this forward, I would also like to understand how the practical assignments and the hands-on on the tools and different tools of business analysts helped you with the real-world business challenges.
Perfect. So the tools which was taught to me in the PIBA, right? It was like it's at the first instance, at the first glance, it was like it's very simple. It's not rocket science to understand, right? But it is like very hard to master as well because it entirely depends on the creativity. Like let's say for the balsamic, balsamic is such a easy tool to understand. It's a wireframe tool, right? So where you can uh, try to put up a script. Let's say if you're trying to build a product and if you want to build a screen, it's very easy for you to put a window over there, add few fields and boxes, and try to make your own product over there, right? Using the rapid wireframing technique, right?
Correct.
It sounds such a like a simple tool, but trust me, before I came into Rockwell, the way the user story was grooming, they used only screenshots of the existing product, right? And they tried to put some text fields using the presentation and everything, and there's a lot of scribbling in the existing screenshot, right? And it didn't felt right to me, since I
Right.
was very I was like a fresh product from the PIBA and ready to take on the market like head on. And once I saw the problem, I immediately, put up a good mail to the my manager that I'll be doing this and that. And the wireframing tool which I introduced to the team was Balsamic. And trust me, right from there till now, Balsamic has helped me a lot. I'm not trying to focus only on that thing. I'm just trying to tell that certain tools that are still not practiced into the market, although being a very old company as well, they are
Correct.
they do not know about these techniques, which is very simple and very easy to use, right? And I had the opportunity to introduce the same tool to them, and trust me, it got very simple there and therefore. And also in the one of the retrospective calls where the entire team sits together and give feedback about the process, how it was gone. The engineering team said that that wireframe had helped us a lot to understand, because although the requirement was very clearly written, the acceptance
Right.
criteria and the requirement was clearly written, but that requirement enforces what wireframe is trying to tell us, right?
Right.
Because picture tells a lot, right?
Yes.
And once you see the wireframe, then you understand the requirement much better, right?
Right.
So this kind of, since Dibhanshu introduced me to the Balsamic tool, I started using it, such a scale that, everyone started in the company were used to it now. People are used to it. If you do not use it in any user story, we get a comment that, okay, where's the wireframe and where's this thing and that. So it's like now our daily bread using that,
Ye-
right? So such kind of tools like Star UML and Balsamic, and then we had the other eDrawMax and all those things like mind mapping and everything. This was all taught in the PIB course. It's not very rocket science. It's very easy to understand. At the first glance, you generally have this thought that whether I'm using the right tool or not, because right, because uh, looking at that tool, it feels like it's very outdated and some kind of a thing. But trust me, it's not outdated, or it's not very even if though easy. The important thing is that our me as a business analyst, if I'm trying to put out the requirement, I ensure that whatever documents I'm trying to give is supporting the requirement, so it is easy for them to understand, right? So yeah, so PIBA taught me this multiple things, multiple tools like eDrawMax, then Star UML, then Balsamic, and then Trello you use as a as a good board to make us understand the everyday task and everything, right? Since they had a different buckets and everything, I still use it. And that's these are the four tools which I very use in a day-to-day basis, right?
Awesome. Yeah, so while sharing this with us, you also highlighted that in Rockwell, wireframes was not used before. They
Yeah.
used to use the screenshots and there were a lot of scribbling and all. So on that part, do you believe there is some gap or lack of having good BAs out there in market who are lacking the maybe the good expertise on the tools that they should have? Do you feel that?
Yeah, I believe that because there are good BAs out there, but I guess there could be much more better BAs. Like if they had much more important, because they possess all the knowledge, they have good experiences as well. I guess a little bit more polishing would make them much better because we need to understand the market, right? Since people like us having good skill set, but a little bit less experience in this market, I guess once we gain more experience, I guess probably we'll beat the competition. But the
Correct.
people who are already out there with good experiences as well, but may or may not lack skills, right?
Hmm.
Like they might do all those things that is required by the company, they might fulfill it. I guess probably they cannot excel it,
Yeah.
right? That's where they might lack, because with certain kind of tools or certain kind of understanding, right? Because please understand this, that PIBA doesn't allow you to just use the tools. Okay, these are the four tools, please use it and make your life better. No, it is not like as simple as that. PIBA
Yes.
enables you to understand these four tools in such a way that you may explore more tools like it,
Correct.
right? So it opens up your mind. It is not just what the course is built and just understand what I'm trying to teach you and just use it in your day-to-day life. It's not like that. It is just understanding that how open is the market and how big is the opportunities over there. So probably
Correct.
with the four tools, I guess I'm enabled more to see such similar tools more, right? And I'm generally looking out for more like more such tools in the market, because apart from that, I guess I search for almost 8 to 10 tools in the. I do not recall it correctly, but in the process of doing that, I there are multiple tools which I found for the business analyst. So this kind of course helps. This kind of understanding helps you to explore more rather than just sticking to the four tools that was taught in the course,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and also, as you said, right, if you are getting a good hands-on experience on something rather than just highlighting these are the tools or maybe just giving you the theoretical understanding, it makes a huge difference. Unless and
Hmm.
until you are not playing around with any tool or not, you're not getting any the hands-on or practical knowledge about anything, it is
Hmm.
very difficult to understand it completely.
Correct.
So that's a plus. Thanks for sharing that. Now, let's go ahead with your interview journey. So, since you were mentioning earlier, right, you did after business analytics for 4 5 months, you were applying for jobs and you were not landing in any job. So, how did PIBA help you to boost your confidence for the interview? And yeah, maybe I have one more question after that. You can answer this first.
Sure, sure. So the interview process was very, what do you say? That struggle was real, because yeah, because I guess um, recently there was this thing I came across. Is like interview is such a hard barrier that one need to crack, because you have to put everything that you've got, and once
Right,
you're through that wall, I guess probably on the other side, everything is goody goody then. Like everything is easy to it's very easy once you transition into the role, right? Once you landed the job, you got the job, right? Then it's very easy for you to function around day to day life. But
correct,
these companies build such a hard barrier that's very hard to crack, right?
correct,
Sometimes. Now recently, because uh, the verification process and everything has gone so strict, like you cannot put false information on the resume as well, but you need a way to understand that how I can very well turn the information around so that it aligns exactly as my business analyst interview requires. So to give you an example, what happened was, once I was once I completed my PIBA course, now it was about time that I go into the market again and start searching for the jobs. So since the PIB course was completed, it doesn't mean that it for me it was like it's over. Okay, now I'm on my own again. but it did not happen the same. Dibhanshu was there at the same time. He created a WhatsApp group where he ensured that we all are connected from the same the group. So our group consisted of, I guess, 15 people, 12 to 15 people roughly, and he ensured that we all stick together because everyone was in a position where they wanted to transition into a different role, right? So anyone who is trying to make it to transition that side, so they would share their experiences, their interview and everything, so we are very well prepared. So the Bansho ensured that we all stick together, and if there's any questions that we had, while doing the interview process, or if there's an assignment, so he was there with us to make us understand. So right from teacher, like right from a PIB instructor, he was like transitioning to mentor, right?
Yeah.
Once the PIB course was done. And he still acts as a mentor to me because I'm very, like, it's very easily for me to reach him, like wherever I'm stuck, right? So once he turned into a mentor, right, in that group, it like we were like ready to take onto the market. Now what happened was, since that I worked as a project coordinator, where I had a role of more of a civil engineering and data analytics part as well. So he helped me to design my resume in such a way that it focus only on those things that was required for the interview to show him, right? Because
Yeah.
he told me, like, let's not put entire thing what you did and whatnot, because that won't help you. Because as an interviewer, I don't want to look that, right? I don't want to see that you check this material or that. I'm not interested in that, right? So he just made one page resume in such a concise way that I myself was very uh, surprised to see that this could happen, right? Because my resume was 3 pages long. I
Okay.
wrote all the rubbish things that I could, because before I had a perception that the more you write about yourself or the experience, it will feel like the more you did the work. No, it was not like that way, right? I was completely mistaken at that point of time. So once that clarity I got how to build a resume, then he made us understand the competition, what's out in the market, right? It's not like taking one resume and sticking the same resume in every company, right? It's not like giving the same postcard to every company, right? It was more like understand what they're trying to offer, revise the resume in such a way that it aligns exactly as per the requirements, and then
Correct.
you apply to it, and you ensure that you have all the right skill set that you're trying to offer, right? Because tell me one thing, Shweta, that you know me when I applied for this job, the Rockwell automation, it focused more on the manufacturing part, right?
Correct.
And it they would want such a people that would understand the manufacturing market more, right? But me being as a civil engineer, having a little bit background of the business analytics as well, why would they allow me to put there, right? Because they might have more 10 competitions which were much better than me, which were more deserving than me, maybe having the right experience, right? I would not say deserving, I would take that out, but the experience part, I guess they would have similar experience, right? What they're trying to offer.
Fulfill experience also we can add.
Exactly. But somehow, my resume was built in such a way that it got screened, right?
Yes.
It was through a reference. It got screened at first, and this Rockwell interview was 5 rounds the interview, right?
Okay.
And it almost took 1 month for this interview, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So to give you a brief about what the interview was about, like it was first was they just the introductory session to understand, like they generally go through your resume. They try to ask you questions like what you did, how was your experience, and this and that, and they try to understand that do you understand what kind of a role we are offering, right? So they do generally ask a few of the questions from their market as well, or the domain, right? So I answered them in a very good manner, and I got through the first round. The second round was assignment. Now the assignment was right from the role of business analyst entering into a project until develop deployment,
Okay.
and it was like a cheat sheet, because that everything I was knowing, like from head to toe, because I was freshly out of the PIBA course, right? So I knew how the PRD was. I knew how the user story format should be. I knew what is the internal and external stakeholder. I knew how to prioritize the user stories. I knew then what are the methods, what are the principles that we need to do, and then there were, I guess, total 5 to 8 questions. Like there were 5 questions roughly, but the 3 questions were exactly as per what PIBA taught, the prioritization PRD, user story format, and breaking down the PRD into certain epics and user stories and all those things. It was bang on, right? That three questions I banged on, and the rest of the two questions were more of a behavioral part, right?
Uh-huh.
Now that kind of behavioral part questions is very difficult to answer, right? And somehow our batch was able to, you know, discuss more on the behavioral part as well. And
Correct.
yeah, that kind of, since I had a very good batch, and they generally spoke more about, rather than just focusing on the theoretical, okay, this is my presentation, this I'm reading, and this you have to do. No, I guess probably he more spoke on the examples and his experience. So we understand what exactly what is the behavior to understanding, in order to do this particular task, right?
Yes.
Because there are certain areas where you get a task, there might be some issue, but how do you deal with it, right?
Yeah.
If there are tasks, there's some misalignment, how do you deal with it, right? Such kind of task. Because I guess that's how the management should work, right? To do this understanding and everything. So I managed to give those answers too as well. And with the help of Divanshu, I reviewed the entire the assignment, and then I submitted. And voila, I was there at the third round. And the third run was very good, where I had to explain my assignment. It went very well, right? And the fourth round was, with the top management team. He said, like, I need to speak to you one to one, because need to ensure that my uh, you know basket of apple need to have another good apple, because I don't want to spoil my basket, right? So he was so much keen to take on the another employee who's very well this thing. So I was really scared, because at that time, because I did not belong to that domain, right? It was very new to me. But there are certain things that he asked me, that why did you choose this domain, because you're not in this domain, right? How you're willing to contribute to this, because I'm very very much you know uh, it's very much important for me to understand that you contribute in the right way, although you have the skills. We understand that because of the assignment. So he asked me this very important question, which I felt like to him to answer. So I guess the way I answered this was, I told him that we as a business analyst are more like a flexible employee, where we can easily fit into any domain we want. Like,
Correct.
you give us couple of months, probably we can master the domain very well, and we can be up to pace, right? Let it be manufacturing, let it be finance, or let it be any domain, right? It's not hard to understand. Me being as a civil engineer, I did not take much of a time to understand these kind of domains. It's very simple, right? Once you understand the domain, it's right there then. And once you keep on practicing in the once you start playing around that domain, yeah, I guess you'll be the master of it in the next few months, right?
Correct.
So us being a business analyst ensures that it provides such a flexible mind. It doesn't put us into a rigid this thing, okay, I'm this and I will be doing this only. No, it's
Correct.
it is like more ensuring that all the process that has been happening inside the team and outside the organization as well, it we ensure that everything is seamless, right? If
Yes.
there's chaos, we are there, right? We are there to simplify it, right? So this is how I explained to him that if even though I'm a domain expertise, trust me that in the next 3 months I'll be in such a I can level up with the other BA colleagues that are already in the company, right? And that's what happened. I guess in the first 3 months itself, I received a good recognition in contributing into a project, because I put my whole and soul into that project, right? Because since I committed something in my interview, I had to prove it now, right? And within the first 3 months, I got my recognition, and immediately took a screenshot and sent to the Dibhanshu. Right, I was so happy for that. And I said to them, like, even though yeah, I got this recognition, I want to share this with you, because you own 50% of it or more of it, right? So once the interview everything had was done, the crucial thing, he also told me that to understand the competition, right? Because when you're trying to put the resume, trying to give the right format of the resume, not putting into the PDF, putting into the Word format, what the first 50% what it should focus on, the next 50% what it should focus on, right? Understand the competition. So I had the LinkedIn Premium, so I had the HR's contact number as well. I had the opportunity to see who's the HR posting this job, and what other skill sets the competition had, right?
Yes.
So if let's say if there are 10 skills are offered by the company, the LinkedIn Premium shows you that out of 100 applicants, uh, like 80% of applicants have this kind of skill sets.
Okay.
So before applying that, I guess I ensured that what kind of analytics I do have, and on the basis of those, I used to tweak my resume in such a way that I ensured that I was ahead of this people, right? And then I used to go and apply that. And however, I was also additionally doing mailing that HR, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I've applied through this, but I also ever feel that my resume should shortlist on such basis and give a short introduction on the mail itself, right? So this is how I started cracking the interviews at that time. And trust me, because of such kind of uh, what do you say, good knowledge and understanding of the market, how you should compete with others and how to land a job and to crack an interview with such kind of knowledge, I guess I got a raise of nearly 98% from the previous this thing. So 98% hike I landed.
Oh,
Yeah, at that time, I guess I got multiple jobs. I had multiple roles in my hand and I was very happy. I thought of, I got greedier more, like 98% mil gaya abhi, then I want to leap in more and more, but I didn't want to greedy because Rockwell Automation was such a good company. So that's why I was like, let's stop. Let's try to focus more on BA where, because I didn't want to greedy because it was more like a superpower. Okay, now I have this. Now I can keep on cracking the interviews, but being greedy would land up me in such a hard state. So I came into my senses and then ran it into Rockwell. So this is how I transition after PIBA courses. This is how Dibhanshu helped me to transition into the this uh, business analyst role. It was there and it's still there with me now as a mentor. Right?
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to hear about your Rockwell automation interview journey completely and other interviews as well. You have shared it in a such a way that it is very insightful and it is very helpful for people who are listening to us. And again, I would like to ask you a question. So you are highlighting that you are not part of this domain. You did not have the domain expertise what
Yep.
Rockwell automation is currently having. They are into the manufacturing domain. So if somebody who is trying to transition into some other domain, but they are fearing because they don't have the expertise or skill set, what suggestion you would like to give them?
Like for the people who want to jump from domain to domain, I guess probably the first thing that you need to understand is having the right skill set, right? Ensure that the foundation of a business analyst is completely firm, right? You are not mistaken anywhere. Like let's let us not give a chance for the interview to find a loophole in that foundation, right? because
Correct.
because that's where you'll be a little bit ahead of the game first. And secondly, there comes the domain expertise, right? Now, since people should have at least a surface knowledge of what domain they're trying to apply, because it doesn't mean that if you do not have the domain knowledge they would not entertain. No, it's not like that. Let's try to bring into the real world. You should have a domain knowledge at least little bit, right?
Yes.
Even though you do not have it. Like let's say if an interview asking you this, that okay, sir, you have a nice skill set of a BA, but we need to understand whether you have the understanding of domain or not, right? So if I was there, like changing from domain to domain, probably what I would do is like I would go and research a little bit about where I'm trying to apply, what their domain is, and crafting such a story that I would give them domain knowledge or surface knowledge, and taking them into confidence that although I do have a surface knowledge, and once you guys enable me to come into a company, I can probably explore it more. Like I can show my like probably you craft fabricate a story where you tell them that have understanding of domain this and this, you have this and this, but I'm just waiting for a chance to explore this more because I have more interest into it, right?
Yes.
You fabricate such a story that once I enter into it, I'll have this and that, right? But you need to have a domain knowledge first, right? At least have a portion of it. So it is just required for the interview, whatever is required for do not try to burden yourself with too much of knowledge, right? That's what yeah.
Certification is not required
No,
in.
certification is not required. Trust me, certification is something that I I'm through with that, because
Yeah.
so no one would ask you certification. Trust me, Shweta. Even today, I have not updated my Naukri portal or LinkedIn portal since 1.5 year, but I still do get calls just on the basis of my current company and my skill sets, right?
Correct.
Although my background is still civil engineering, they ask me whether you are interested in the manufacturing domain, are you interested in the automotive domain and everything, right? So it is more on the domain knowledge as well as skill set, but ensure that your foundation is correct first, and then gain a little bit understanding before jumping into domain, because you need to take them into confidence that yes, I have an understanding of this domain. However, if you enable me to and get a good placement into a company, probably I will explore it more and even better than already the existing people in the company, right? So that kind of confidence you need to take them into.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you highlighted it very well because it is very important. A lot of BAs who are out there who want to transition into different domain, right? New domain. And obviously they don't have the skill set, they don't have the domain knowledge. And that is the reason they have the fear whether I should do it or not. And then they get trapped into the loop of certifications
Yeah.
where they land up into too much of knowledge and they are not then able to present it or get the interviewer in confidence, as you were mentioning, and they maybe lack that opportunity. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing this. It will be helpful for them to understand how exactly they can structure it for their interviews while they want to change the domain.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's move ahead. I also wanted to ask you about your Rockwell automation interview journey, but you already covered it. So for thanks for that. So now moving ahead, I also like to understand what do you want to say most important skills for someone who is looking to become a successful business analyst?
Oh, okay. That's a very broad question. Uh, I guess the first thing is to, have analytical skills first, right? Uh, uh, to look at a broader sense, a business analyst would want uh, to understand what's happening right in the team, right? There's chaos everywhere, right? And to from my experience, what I'm trying to do in the current company, like there's already a lot of chaos, and we as a BA ensure that we streamline this chaos in such a manner that everyone is at the same page and in a good agreement, so there's no issues at any point of time, right?
Absolutely.
So the skill set for the first BA would want is sorry is firstly not the tools that we just mentioned, right? The first is the management skills.
Yeah.
Management skills, as in you need to understand the stakeholder management. You need to have good negotiation skills.
Yeah.
You need to have good communication skills. The hold on your the language is very much important, and you have to be very good listener. Being a BA, yeah, because we are the problem solvers, right, in the market, right? And you need to understand that what's the but exact problem that the other customers or the internal team has, right? So that's few of the important skill set I would say, like apart from this, because these kind of skill sets you would not get any in the course, right? There's something that you practice daily, right?
Yeah.
You need to keep on polishing. Even I'm not there yet, right? But I ensure that I keep on polishing these skills, so once I be there, I guess I'm probably a fully once I end up in the top management team anywhere, like let's say vertical head or something that I aim for, I guess probably I would be very much in such a state that I can ensure that everything is aligned and everything, right? So these skills are very important apart from the tools that are out there or softwares that are out there.
Correct.
Once these skills are there, analytical skills and strategic thinking, you want like what you need to understand, what need to be prioritized first and everything. This time boxing method, like understanding your activities, like ensure that you are your not in a chaotic manner, and you are very streamlined, right? So analytical skills, this negotiation, communication, and then having good what do you say strategic thinking,
Yeah.
and right. So these are all the skills that you need to understand, and these skills are not developed in a in a day or night, right? You need to keep on practicing this thing, but you need to have a better understanding before you try to practice this, because you need to ensure that you're practicing in the right manner,
Correct.
right? So once this is through, then probably the next tools come in, right? All those tools like wireframing techniques and this and that, because once you try to present these skills, these tools will help you to enforce that idea much more better,
Yes.
right? Because to give you a short example, user story is more of a my idea how the product should be developed, right? But the extra wireframe that I put over there, the mind mapping that I put over there, there is the extra information that I'm to enforcing that requirement, so the other person is understanding is more better, right?
Correct. Yes.
So that thing. So the first line of skills I said, the second line of skills is tool, right? So these are the two major portion of the BAs that we need to understand. And thirdly, which is very much important, the domain knowledge. You need to become the domain expertise, because the current scenario in the market is asking more for domain expertise, and 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 the people having good BA skills as well, right? So
Yes.
have the domain expertise first, right? So you can be ahead of the competition. So
Yes.
these are the three things I would recommend for the new BAs that are trying to come into the market.
Yes. So, yeah, you had put it in a very proper way. It is very structured. So, you have divided it into three parts, and someone who is trying to become a successful BA or just want to start their career as a BA, it will be very helpful for them to have this approach towards their career path of a BA. Okay, so we are towards the end of the session now, and I have one final question for you. What is your final advice to the PIBA community or someone who is considering to join PIBA course?
Okay. Uh, so the advice to the PABA community is like, first, keep on growing, right?
Yeah.
Let's not stop, because recently from the past few months I can see that Dibhanshu has set up a PIBA alumni group, where I can see people keep on adding over there, and I feel very much happy, because it gives me a quick access to a lot of BAs there in the market.
Yes.
And let's say the question you previously asked, right? If a person want to switch from domain to domain, right? So let's say if I want to switch to another domain, I would rather want to go any of the BAs and post a question there, that if anyone has this domain expertise, and people would quickly just reply to that, and probably I can easily connect to them and get a domain understanding initially, right? So this kind of networking, because I guess there's one quote: your network is your net worth, right?
Yes.
So this networking part enables us to have more benefit than other BAs, because I have access to good BA networks. I have already access to good HRs as well, right? So for people like me, like, I do not go have to anywhere, right? I do not
Yeah.
have to struggle here and there, right? The first this thing is like, first level of struggle is like over for me, because it's very easy for me. Like, so the advice to be like, keep on growing, build the network more and more, because network is very much important for BAs like us, right? We can keep on communicating, understanding the few these things, right? And secondly, you asked for the advice to the BAs, right?
Yeah. Someone who is considering the PIBA course.
Yeah. So on that part, I guess for the folks who are thinking to opt for the PIBA course, trust me, like, uh, the PIBA course is built in such a way that it focuses more on the practical insights of the business analyst, right? It gives you an understanding what the current market is, rather than just giving the bookish knowledge of what the it was written like 5 or 10 years back,
Yeah.
right? Let's to put it in a very simple manner, what the BA process or the BA knowledge which is out there already, the course is designed in such a way that he took all the important aspects of the BAs and put it in such a way with the current market situation and what practices has been happening right currently in the market. Right, so he tries to put in such a way that you understand right from start to end. And it's not very confusing. It's very simple for to
Yeah.
understand, right? So for me, PIB was in a good space. Once I got to know the other courses, since I did other courses, then it was very easy for me to distinguish that PIB is such a good course, because I was easily able to compare. Right, had a
Yeah.
comparison. But the people who are just trying to directly opt for the PIB course, I would say that if you're looking for the current practice that is happening in the market, go for it, right? Because PIBA course will give an edge to compete into the market. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You rightly said that the practical part of it is very much aligned to the current market situation, which is definitely going to help the people or the folks who are trying to transition into BA role or who are already BA but they want to upskill themselves. So
yeah,
Yeah, this platform is really good, and all the way you highlighted the community part also, right? How PIBA community is helping you, and how you can leverage that community. You don't have to hunt for BAs somewhere else. You already have good BAs in your community, and that will help you whenever you.
Exactly.
So thanks for highlighting these 2 points. So, and as we are towards the end of the session, I really want to thank you, Lohit, for making this happen, taking time out for us this conversation today. And you have explained everything in very structured way and a detailed way that will help everyone out there, the BAs and the aspiring BAs, to understand how the current market is, how to transition. If they have any questions related to BA, I think this conversation is enough for them to understand end to end about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes. And you also covered a lot of things about PIBA, how practical it is. You also mentioned that it is structured in a such a way that it's very simple to understand, and it
Yep.
is presented in a very simple way. There is no confusion. So thanks for highlighting it and explaining us also in a very simple way. So it will be definitely going to help all our viewers. Thank you so much for today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Shweta. Happy
Thank
to be here. Yes.